Welcome back, welcome back. Well, I just turned off my Lucretia Hughes page because we're getting ready to have an interview. Francesca, if you can hear me, can you microphone or uncamera? Hey, there she is. So welcome back, everybody, to the Real News with Lucretia Hughes and Dave. Do not forget the 14th rally is this weekend right here at the house. It is the Faith Over Fear celebration for first responders and veterans. And like I said, we still need your donations to help get all of the free food that we're going to be feeding all our Leos and first responders as they come down the driveway. And we have, like I said, so many speakers coming all in from the United States, from Seattle, Washington, all the way to Arizona, all the way to Florida and Connecticut. So many people coming in. So make sure y'all make y'all way over there. And like I said, y'all just help me share and donate and as much as possible. And like I said, if you want that raffle, and this is the raffle of the guitar from last year, everybody, all the speakers sign that guitar. We are raffling that, and the proceeds are going to be going towards the actual rally, and it's going to be going towards the food also. So, like I said, and do not forget, she's looking at me, but I'm just trying to get this out. Do not forget the NRA convention. I had dreams last night that I was on the floor of the NRA convention walking up to people saying, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. I'm so dango stressed out about this dango NRA board of directors vote and the ballot. Like I said, I am having dreams of me campaigning on the NRA floor. Make sure y'all vote for me. And then if you're coming to the NRA convention, y'all make sure y'all come by my booth. I'm going to be on Media Row as the voices for the 2A. And I am so nervous and stressed out that these are huge opportunities that I've never been presented to myself and Dave before. Y'all know it's just me and Dave that does everything, the rallies, the traveling, the show. When two or more get together in his name, everything can change. So we really need y'all help in the next month. And do not forget about our mediation on our home. 3 years of fighting fraud and forgery, and we going into mediation 3 days next Tuesday about our home. So, like I said, keep us covered in prayers. So much stuff can happen within the next 3 weeks. I am petrified, but I have to have what? Faith over fear. So, everybody, I want to introduce y'all to Francesca. So, Dave, please bring her on. Hey, Francesca.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's great to meet
It's
you.
good to meet you, and thank you for listening to me promote myself in the show and everything. But it truly is. This is a family affair, and everybody that's in the chat rooms, we just want to learn. This is the type of show. It's laid back, and I feel like whatever topic that you want to talk about, let's talk about that. And if you have any links that you want us or Dave to actually put in the chat room, we want to go ahead and promote you too. So I saw a little bit about who you are and your background by Helen, everybody, and Stan. But I want you to let everybody know it's Francesca, and just give a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I'm Francesca, and I have a nonprofit called Homes for Veterans. And my dad actually started the nonprofit all the way back in 2011, just simply out of the kindness of his heart. My grandpas on both sides were both in World War II. And my dad was, classic guy from New Jersey, could fix anything, and he loved the veterans. We were a very patriotic family. So my dad started by just kind of going and fixing a chair, fixing a sink. And he realized that there were a lot of veterans that were falling through the cracks, as we say. There was a lot of veterans that were in car accidents, that had neurological disorders and other issues that, other nonprofits and the VA and things, they weren't covered.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go in and do those projects. And it was really just a New Jersey nonprofit and something that my dad was doing a lot of the work himself, especially in the beginning. And then as we were growing and people started to know my dad, and they were like, wow, you really do this. Even if my dad is an older veteran, you'll do the bathroom, you'll make the bathroom accessible, you'll give him a ramp. COVID happened. I know you mentioned COVID.
Yeah, I call it the scam demic, but go ahead.
Yeah, so actually, my dad, Bergen County is where I grew up, and my dad got COVID
Ooh.
right at the beginning, right at the very early stage. And my dad had never had a pre-existing condition. He had never been in the hospital before. And both my parents were really sick. It was around this time. It was right at the end of March before they told us to wear masks.
Yep.
It was, no one knew what was going on. And so my dad was really sick. And my mom said, called the hospital. He walked into the ambulance and he never came out. And we never would have thought in a million years that my dad would pass away. It was a complete shock. So this is a very hard time of year for me. My dad was in ICU for 21 days on a ventilator. We couldn't visit. It was horrible.
I
It was
feel
horrible.
such type of way. I feel so. When you told me all that, it's mine veteran died of super cancer. Eh, this whole scamthemic thing and how it was unleashed, I feel a certain type of way. And I don't feel like we're going to ever find justice for what the travesties that they unleashed in the world. And so when I talk to someone that lost a family member during that time and what they had to go through, especially being on ventilators and everything, in hindsight is 2020, it it brings up these raw emotions all over again of what they did to us. And I'm glad your daddy left a legacy before he passed away on undue causes. I still get emotional. I'm about like you with this stuff. But okay,
It's
then
horrible.
we're gonna get out our feelings because we both in we both got in our
Right. And
feelings.
I appreciate
Days.
you giving me a platform. It's so hard to talk about it because um, I know so many people went through it, but like you said, I was so happy to have Homes for Veterans. And ultimately, when he did pass away, my mom had always been on the board. My mom is a school teacher. And I said, can I continue this on? And she said, yeah, sure. Like, whatever you want to do. And so I not only continued it, but I made it in my dad's honor and like you said for his legacy. Now we've expanded and we've completed projects since 2020 when he passed away on Easter Sunday, actually, August 12th, 2020. Now we've done projects in 19
Ooh.
states. We've helped over 140 veterans get barrier-free modifications. I added a care package program where we help VA hospitals and we drop off items and we get them essential items and all that. And our biggest initiative that we're launching this year is affordable housing. So we're going to build housing and actually get the veterans out of these shelters and into permanent homes, not transitional homes, permanent homes. And I do it for my dad because we didn't have a funeral and we couldn't go to the hospital. And I feel like I am so grateful for the dad that I had who raised me as a patriot, who always, said, you sleep in bed at night because of these men. You sleep in bed safely because of the people that died, overseas for you. And this is the greatest gift that I feel like I can give him. So.
I don't know why empty hospitals, because there's a lot of abandoned hospitals that are still just need some rehabs. And I don't know why malls just popped in my head. It's like old malls that's just sitting there rotting away. Why not turn those? Because they already have the infrastructure and no one's really using those, and they're so large. Why not turn that into an all encompass a veterans a home for vets? You can take some of those stores, floors and everything, and split them and make separate little apartments, and you already have all of the foundation that you would need. You would just have to rehab it.
Yes, I think that it's important for us to have these conversations because what I'm starting to notice as, I've been doing this now for 5 years, really, like at the helm. And I really think people just forget about the veterans. I don't think it's so much that there's a stop or a reason. I think they're just forgotten. And I know that sounds unbelievable, but I truly think that's the reason. There's always a hot topic going on. And, some hot topic will come and then it will go away.
Yes.
And I'm really seeing that that's the issue. We're not focused on veteran housing as a constant. We're not focused on veteran healthcare as a constant. And what goes hand in hand, what we do is this barrier-free and accessibility, and that also plays into the elderly, right? So we have all these Vietnam veterans. We have the boomer generation. They don't necessarily want to leave their homes. They're fine. They just need that accessible bathroom. They need those lower cabinets. They need a ramp. And that's expensive. I mean, everything today is so expensive. You might not be low income or in poverty, but you don't have $15,000-$20,000 to redo your bathroom to make it fully accessible. My dad understood that because that was sort of our situation. I grew up, in a regular family. My dad was in the printing business. My mom was a teacher. So he understood that issue. My grandparents lived in my house, all of them,
Yes.
so
But
my
that's how we
grandma
was
had
raised
Parkinson's.
though. We was raised to take care of families, generational household. I mean, my mom lives here with us now. My daughter, who's 30, stays with us. And just think about it, because you could call that generational wealth because it stays in the home. No one
Yep.
is struggling. Everybody is kind of pitching in if they can, and you're taking care of each other. I have a feeling, what you go back to what you said, is the reason why we found out during Doge coming in and doing an audit just on the VA, where they was taking $1 billion out of VA care and was giving it to illegals. So if you look in the last decade, 10 years to 20 years, it has went away from United States, and it has started being the global. So everything that made us American wasn't no longer projected out there. Our veterans wasn't, unless it's election time. But other than that, it's somebody's other country or illegals. And now we see out of every government organization, billions of dollars was being flooded to illegals, to free housing, free cars, free everything. And I never understood how in the world our veterans was pushed to the side, and during the scamdemic kicked out of the military because they didn't want a clot shot. And it just seemed like our government forgot exactly who they work for, and it wasn't us anymore, and it definitely was not our veterans, and they owe our veterans.
Yes. And the thing is, like, I personally don't make policy, but what I do and what I can do is go off of my lived experience. And I grew up in a military family. My grandpas, like I said, were both in World War II. I live with my grandparents, like you said, and when you see what's going on in your own home, and after losing my dad, that's why at Homes for Veterans, we say yes. So where other nonprofits say no, or the VA says no, we will say yes. And that was my dad's mission, and that has continued to be our mission. And I feel like so satisfied in doing that. And our donations are all, not all, but almost like 90% small donors. We have no
Right.
government funding right now, and it's all because of people like that, like people that like watch the show. It's all small donors that allow us to do the projects that we do, and local builders and suppliers, and it's really liberating because I feel like I'm able to make a difference when sometimes everything feels really dark, and you feel like you're like, I don't know what to do, but we do make a difference. Like right now, we're doing a project in Westchester, and it's such a great story. The couple has lived in this house their whole lives. The wife was born in the house next door, and this man who's a veteran, a Navy veteran, and he worked his whole life. His wife is still working. He has MS. And anyone who has MS knows it's a very difficult illness with very little, cures and things to help the symptoms. It's a very degenerative disease. So he can't walk well, obviously. So the porch on their home is caving in, and it's like this. And they're so afraid that not only will the porch cave in, and he's fallen many times on this porch, but they're worried that the home will be condemned and then taken away. And then where are they supposed to go? Like, I know you spoke about your home just a few minutes ago. I mean, this is a situation, like
Running
like you just
rampant.
said, this is our veteran. And we're talking, this is like a $45,000 project. Where are they supposed to get this money? The VA is not going to cover something like this. It's so random. But we stepped up, and we're redoing the porch right now.
Oh, okay. So How do you do that? Is it the like the community that they live in? You do a SOS. This is what we need, and people just join together and come in and actually help build or help them build their porches.
Yes, and I'll also share this with you because I know you have lots of faith, and this was the true story. So they had a matching grant for half of the cost, and they said, so we need to raise the other half in order to receive the matching grant. And I met this family and the couple, they were so nice. And I was like, I'm going to raise this money for you. Like, I need to do this project for you. I love you guys. I want to do this. Um, I just said to the Lord, like, okay, you gave me this problem. I need to raise $20,000. Like, you presented me with the problem. Now present me the solution. I went around, I went to some people in the town. People were enthusiastic. You know, we were kind of getting the word out there. And when I tell you this has never happened before, we received an anonymous donation for $20,000 right before Thanksgiving. 3 weeks after I had met this family, I swear on my dad, that has never happened to us before. Anonymous donation for almost the exact amount that we needed. And this family is very faithful as well. And I feel like that sort of happens to me often. I just am presented with the problem. I ask the Lord, please present me with the solution. And then people just come into my life that want to help. Um, and that's kind of how I approach it. I know that sounds
No,
crazy, but that is
that sounds
true.
faithful. That sounds faithful. That's pretty much what I heard. Either you're gonna pray about it, don't worry about it, and you're gonna let him figure it out. So that sounds like faith.
It's just, I feel like my dad guides me through this. So for this project, it was very miraculous how we ended up raising that money. So we're partnering with that other nonprofit. We have the matching gift, and then we have some donations coming in from like building materials that we've had donated. But yeah, I mean, that one was just like that. And then sometimes, we'd get the community together. We did multiple projects with Habitat for Humanity in
Mm-hmm.
Maryland this past fall as well, and they've been excellent. I really like working with Habitat. They'll do a part of a project and then we'll raise money for another part of the project so we could do multiple rooms in the house. I really
Mm-hmm.
believe in partnering. I think that the veteran nonprofits, we need to work together and talk to each other, and every veteran requires individual needs, and
Who
there's a
has
lot of
that
different
network?
needs.
Who can you do? Or are you going to create that network to for the veterans organization? Because it should be like a hub network where everybody is can talk to each other and network. How would you do that? Because I have talked since we've been doing interviews. We they said homes for vets. I'm like, wait a minute. We've talked to six different people from all over the United States that are doing the same, and none of them know each other. I'm the equal equation on this one, so I got you around about six different organizations: Montana, in the breadbasket, Miami, Tennessee, California, Washington State. So these and what they South Georgia. He does agriculture, teach them how to actually farm while they building homes and tiny home community. You have the one that's getting ready to do the groundbreaking with Black Pack, which is blacks, Latinos, Asians, and Caucasians. So that's me. It's Black Pack, but they're getting ready to do a homes for vets. And the groundbreaking is in Tennessee. So y'all all need to somehow can be connected with one another, and all of them are veteran people and organizations.
I think that we do an excellent job on partnerships. I mean, we partner with so many organizations. We partner with Habitat, we partner with Adopt a Soldier Platoon, we partner with Courage and Sacrifice. I just, met with Tunnels to Towers a couple times, see if we could do something with them. I met with Wounded Warriors many times. I just saw them today. So I definitely think that we do, for how small we are, we do a really great job of partnering with other organizations. I think it's important to have those. We're national, so we could do projects all over the map. Like right now, we have two projects happening in Texas, a project happening in New York, and a project happening in New Jersey. I think it's important to also have local organizations because they can get localized funding and they can focus on localized issues. And if there's natural disaster, I think the local organizations are important. And so, of course, it's going to be hard to know every single local organization because there's so many and they're small, but they're really important. So when we have a project like we did this amazing project in Atlanta, and that was another crazy story. We did a bathroom project in Atlanta for this wonderful family, the Linwood family. And Charles is permanently wheelchair bound. He goes to dialysis 2 times a week. He's such a trooper. And we had to put them in a hotel on the base, on the local military base. And I actually partnered with another local organization and they funded the hotel that we put them in. So I just, what, depending on where we are, like if we're in Atlanta or we're in Minnesota, I'll call the local United Way and say, hey, we're doing this. You can just find out what's going on in your local community. And I encourage our veterans always to do that, but you have to really talk to the individual to see
Yes.
what their needs are. Because they might not need just a veteran organization. Like Habitat for Humanity is not a veteran organization. And I think it's important to encourage veterans to, tell you, like as a service provider, they need to express to me, what do you need? We're going to help you with your bathroom. We're going to help you with your ramp. But what else do you need? We're going to help you get your benefit. We help them get their benefits. We make sure
Wow.
they're getting all the benefits that they're eligible for at the VA. But what else do you need? I've had veterans that say, I'm really having trouble with paying this bill, and then I could say, all right, let me refer you to somebody that might be able to help you with that. Or I really need clothes for a job interview. Like, let me refer you. So I think it's also about getting to know the individual, basically.
Why can't you partner with the VA?
We do. We partner with the VA. We
I'm
bring
talking
them
about so
the,
you can get
yeah.
some of that money, some of those grant monies that was given out here to all these NGOs that really wasn't helping the veterans. Why can't you get a piece of that pie? Because you actually are helping the veterans.
Like I said, I mean, I haven't wanted to really rely on government funding quite yet, but we do locally. The VAs around here, New York, New Jersey, they definitely know me. We've brought them items, we've partnered with them on different things, and had local schools and Boy Scouts write them cards and things like that. So the VA knows that we're here to help.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've gotten a little bit bigger, I've grown that relationship. But now is not the best time also for that because they're cutting everything. So if I did one, now is like probably the worst time. But like I said, I like to say yes to veterans as much as I can. So it makes it a little bit easier the way we're doing it.
So when you start these tiny homes or these homes, are they going to be like community? It's going to be self-sufficient and everything else like all encompassed. So or is it going to be like they have their tiny home, they stay there for like 2 years, get all the training, get well, if it's mental health, if it's job training, school, all that to get them to assimilate back into society, or is it going to be like a temporary or permanent?
So I'm very passionate about permanent housing.
Okay.
I think that's really important. Um, I think there's a lot of transitional housing out there, and we need to focus on permanent housing solutions
Mm-hmm.
and allowing veterans to find a community where they can settle and live and pass there if they so choose. So that's what we're doing. We're going to build affordable, sustainable, and accessible housing,
Okay.
and it will be a community, and it will be mostly one bedrooms because that is the greatest need, is for one bedrooms for disabled veterans. And we will have services provided, but it will not be a transitional home.
Okay.
It will be permanent housing. And I really think that's what we need to focus our conversation around in general, is when we're talking about affordable housing, we cannot forget about our veterans. And a lot of our veterans are Vietnam veterans who are elderly veterans. And that's what I'm so passionate about right now, especially in these congested areas like New York and New
Yes.
Jersey.
Especially getting them off the street. I don't know why I just saw a lot. There's a lot of homeless veterans that they just need a hand. They just need a hand after they've given their life. A lot of them just need a hand. I don't know why container homes just kept popping in my head. You said one bedroom. I am forever looking at tiny homes and these container homes that is so big, and I guess you would call them cargo containers, and you can modify them, which are sustainable, instead of going out into like a landfill or somewhere to just die and rust, but actually turn one of those into a one bedroom house. I don't know why my head just said container home, and it's cheap.
Yes. Yeah, and I think, like I said, this conversation is so important so our listeners can, you know, really think of these kinds of solutions. And maybe you're a builder, maybe you're a developer, maybe you're an investor, maybe you have land. Where I am in the New York, New Jersey area, there's no land. So we're always looking for land. It's a very congested area. It's a very expensive area. So we are always looking for land. So that's a big issue. So is there a foreclosed building that you could donate? Are you a developer that can donate your time? Do you have supplies? Is it something that you want to invest in? Because we're going to do this. We're in the process of doing this, and that's what the conversation needs to be about. I think there's so many great ideas that can be had, but who is going to move forward and execute it?
What if you
And that's what
found
we're going to do.
what if you found some cheaper land in upstate New York or rural New Jersey and just get away from that compacted area where all of the temptations of being homeless is there to begin with, and actually get them out there in rural areas or suburbia where you have that land package, or you can get acreage, instead of taking them out of the hell that they're in, which is the big major cities, and actually taking them out into suburbia or the rural areas in New Jersey and upstate New York, and maybe where the land is actually just a little bit cheaper, and you could get more land to be able to get different things, and just get them away from the temptations of the world and put them back out there in nature so they can rebalance themselves.
I think it's logically for somebody like maybe like us, you're like, oh, I want to get out, of this. But I think surprisingly, many veterans, they don't want to leave. They like where they are, and that's actually an issue. I think they there's a lack of homes in places where they want to be and remain. Of course, if somebody said, "Here's this like beautiful piece of land upstate," I would love to go check it out. I would never turn anything away. That hasn't happened. No one has offered that. I still think upstate's probably a very coveted place to be. But what I'm seeing is veterans, and just from surveying the veterans in this area, they don't want to go away. They still have some families. Like, even if they're homeless, you would be surprised that they have families. Some of them have children. They don't want to leave this area, and there is a insufficient amount of places for them to live, and I don't think that's fair. We should be asking them, well, where do you want to live? There's affordable housing in places like New York, but it's in terrible areas. That's not fair. Why are you going to fight overseas? They come back physically and mentally distraught, and then they have these HUD-VASH programs, and then the only option they have is to live in a bad area. So that's what you're saying is like, I mean, we should be moving affordable housing for veterans into nicer areas, but we don't have to move them completely off the map. But definitely yes to what you're saying. We should not. We should not be putting them in these awful areas, and they don't want to go to those areas, and they've
Right.
expressed that.
Because I'm looking at videos and reels. Ain't no way y'all paying $5,000 for a two-bedroom apartment in New York City. Why? Because no one can live. How you living up there when you see all these beautiful apartments, and they say, let's do a New York City tour of an apartment. And at the end of the reel, oh yeah, and the rent is $600 to $800 for a two-bedroom. For a two-bedroom, dude, that's my coat closet. And they was like, yeah, this is some rents in New York, depending on where you. How can anybody actually live there and make it there? And you're supposed to, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Well, everything has gotten astronomical. I mean, it's unbelievable how much things cost. It's terrible. But I would say for our veterans, the community is so important. That's also why we're also this year very focused on rehabbing and making VFWs and American Legions accessible. That's another whole conversation that I'm very passionate about because the VFW and the American Legion is very forgotten. A lot of our World War II veterans utilize those facilities, and now the younger generation doesn't utilize them as much. So they're falling apart, they're not accessible, and eventually they will go away.
Yeah.
And as someone who has experienced severe trauma, who is in grief, a very heavy grief, I know how important community is and how important it is to be able to get out of my house and to go to these things. And I have gone to so many events at the American Legions and the VFWs, and I'm not a veteran. And every time it cheers me up. Those guys always cheer me up, and they like the importance of the American Legion and the VFW and those communities and building like an affordable housing community. It's so important. And anybody that's experienced any kind of trauma, any kind of grief will understand that. And, it's hard because the first step is hard, but if you present it and you make it beautiful and you make it a place where people want to go and hang out, that's how you save lives. I mean, 22 veterans a day are committing suicide. That number has not changed. There are some rumors that it has, but it has not. And what can prevent suicide? Being comfortable in your own home, not struggling to take a shower, not struggling to reach up to a cabinet, not struggling to get in and out of your home. Having a place to go, a community, having a VFW or American Legion to hang out, have an event, have a pig roast, have an open mic night.
I think
Those
you just
things.
answered all that. I was getting ready to say you need to have a sock hop, or back to the bingos. So a 10,000, 5,000 cash bingo. Everybody and their grandma coming. Okay, maybe even a potluck and memory lane a night, where you bring in all of the veterans that want to come in and talk to other veterans and have certain pictures or certain food and stuff out there, and have it maybe like a bi-monthly thing to start, so these buildings will keep continuously being used, and then and keep having it that way. Anytime there's even any type of celebration, whatever the veterans want, bi-monthly have something to where the community come in and bring a dish. You
Absolutely.
can tell I live in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that sock hop idea. My board member, we have a board member who's a commander of the Legion in Rochelle Park, New Jersey, and his Legion is very active. They have open mic nights, they have bingo, like you said. They have also, very important, they have stand downs, which is when they get all different veteran organizations together and they bring backpacks and we bring different items, clothes, socks, shoes, whatever, resources. And he does stand downs every couple of months at the Legion. He's an amazing commander, and we always support the stand downs. And that's another thing, the Legions should have stand downs to offer those services and those free items to veterans that are struggling. So we cannot forget our Legions. At Homes for Veterans, we will rehab your Legion, we will rehab your VFW. And if I said, if you're a builder, you're an investor, you are a construction worker or plumber, and this is something that you're interested in, definitely feel free to give me a call, because this is something that we're very much focused on.
Dave, you have a link and putting it in the chat rooms?
I have been putting it in the chats.
Okay, so he's putting your link and your website in the chat room. So when you get all of this, and you said you are in 19 states helping different areas, different people, do they fill out an application? How do they get in like the veterans or their families, or maybe a volunteer? How do they get in contact with you if they need help with paperwork? Maybe like you said, a shower, the porch, defining the resources. Other than the website, how do they get in contact with you? What do they need to do?
So we make it very simple. So there's no need to be intimidated by the process. Online, it says veteran application right at the top of the website. Those are the eligibility questions. There's not many. If you fill it out, it will tell me if you're eligible for the program once I receive that. And then we have a first come, first serve basis based on those eligibility questions. And there's a checkbox in there that says, do you want resources? And if you check yes, we'll email you within a couple of weeks with a whole list of resources in the meantime while we're going through the questions.
I'm about to make you blush, okay? One of my families, Miss Christine, she said, Francesca, girl, I wish there were more people like you. You have a heart of gold. God bless you.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Because
I love it. I
you
do
gotta
it for
have
my
a
dad.
big heart, and she do it for her dad. Did your dad drag you to the VFWs and American Legions too? What was it about dragging their daughters there? Because when you started saying the VFW and the American Legion, it was like pew pew pew. I
I
was
had
like,
my 13th birthday. I rented the VFW hall and I paid for it myself. My parents made me pay for it, but I had my 13th birthday at the VFW hall and I'll never forget it. It was like one of my favorite birthday parties. So I've been
okay.
going for a long time.
We have 2 minutes left before Zoom be like, all right, that's enough of y'all too. But Dave, I want you to reiterate how people can find you, even though it's in a chat. Just let everybody know again who you are, where they can find you, where they can volunteer, where they can donate, non-profit wise or for profit, just to send you a love offering. I like saying love offering. It's just like but I'm gonna let you close us out. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I'm Francesca DiPaola, and you can go to our website, homesforveterans.us, all spelled out. You can also just send an email at info@homesforveterans.us. And yeah, any questions, application, donation, you could find on the website really easily. Thank
Thank
you.
you. You gonna come back?
Yes, I would love to, and invite me to your stuff too. I always try to go to things, so whatever you have going on, always invite me.
Absolutely. Well, it's this Saturday. It's
Oh,
oh, I'm nervous. I made my arms. Okay, you know
it'll be
what?
amazing. It will be so good. It's going to be great. I have a really, really good feeling.
Thank you so much, Francesca. Everybody, y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. Go ahead, Dave.